On the 28th of February, Architects released their 11th studio album. Their 10th, Classic Symptoms of a Broken Spirit, received generally mixed reviews after they employed a more electronic production style. As I've seen a few people mention, it seems they took the criticism for that album to heart, and 3 years later, they rebutted with a masterpiece. The Sky, the Earth, and All Between has been referred to as being what Classic Symptoms was supposed to be, with a punishing blend of brutal aggression and emotive melodies that, in my opinion, is the band's best work yet. Now, I'm by no means an Architects fanatic, so I didn't end up listening to the album until 3 days after it was released. However, after listening for the first time, I listened to it 8 more times within the next day, and I just think it's too good to not talk about. Psst, hey, before we get into it, this is my first ever video, so if you end up liking it and want to see more cool music analysis videos like this, I'd really appreciate a like or a subscribe so I can make more of these. I'd also like to disclaim that many of the statements in this video are my own interpretations and opinions and should be taken with a grain of salt. With that aside, let's get into it. The Sky, the Earth, and All Between is a 12-track metalcore album with a runtime of 42 minutes. 6 of the 12 tracks were released as singles prior to the album, with the first, Seeing Red, released on December 4th, 2023, over a year before the full release. The following year, we got another 2 singles, Curse and Whiplash, which were released on April 9th and November 19th respectively. They made their official announcement for the album along with the release for Whiplash, with the full release set for February 28th, 2025. After their first 3 singles being released around half a year apart, the band sped up their releases, with Blackhole coming out less than 2 months later on January 14th. With the full album approaching, Architects put out their last 2 singles, Everything Ends and Brain Dead, on February 25th and 26th respectively, mere days before the album released on the 28th. The opening track, Allergy, begins The Sky, the Earth, and All Between in true Architects fashion, pairing ambient synths with heavy blast beats and massive riffs. Just like with their 7th album, All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us, there is no title track to this album, but as with Nihilist, the aforementioned album's opener, the album's title is incorporated into the lyrics for Allergy. The song follows the standard metalcore structure with 2 verse-chorus cycles followed by a bridge, breakdown, and outro. From my interpretation, the song is about growing from hardship. Now, I'd like to preface my interpretations by saying that for the most part, I'll be referring to the lyrics as being from the point of view of a separate speaker, rather than from the actual writer, as many more story-based songs are written as, well, the story. That being said, I believe the song is from the point of view of a speaker who has suffered through an unhealthy relationship of some kind, which included being drained or potentially abused by another person or group. The song is about the speaker's growth and recovery from this. This is my interpretation, of course, so I'll include links to the lyrics for each song so you can form your own opinion. After Allergy's gentle piano outro, we're thrust straight into Gordon Ramsay's metal debut, Whiplash. This is the first of the 6 singles in the album's play order, and it maintains the emotion and intensity of the intro piece with a double shot of British anger. Great as the song is, it kinda feels like the band remembered their profanity quota halfway through writing the album and just shoved it all into here. That being said, we don't disapprove. It's funny if you know the lyrics. Once again, Whiplash follows a very traditional metalcore structure, throwing in a few extra breakdowns here and there for some pizzazz. In an interview with NME, some of the members stated that they wanted to make a really heavy party anthem, and I think that came through really well. The song feels like a riot, I don't know how else to say it. Now for my interpretation, they're obviously angry at something. What that something is, I don't exactly know. It's a banger though, so it doesn't really matter. Also, I love the fact that the first and last words in the song are "move, donkey." I don't know if that was a deliberate choice there, but I think it's funny. The 3rd track, and 2nd single in the album, is the already iconic Blackhole. Blackhole feels like a blend of human and machine in the most epic way possible. The heaviness of the song is only made more intense by the brutal production by Jordan Fish, who, as well as being a former member of Bring Me the Horizon, produced the entire album and did an incredible job. There's a great production video on the song by Richii Wainwright, which I'll link in the video description. Same with Whiplash, I'm not entirely sure what the song is supposed to be about, but my theory is that it's got something to do with war. If I were to guess, I'd say it's about someone in service properly confronting their mortality for the first time, but that's really just grasping at straws. Leave your thoughts in the comments, because I really have no idea. Song 4, for those that wish to have pop. We know the elitists are going to gatekeep the holy hell out of this one. Like, Architects without screams? What is this? Well, that's not entirely true, there is a single line of screaming in the bridge. But I mean, no breakdowns, no solo, no double kicks, and synths? That's not real metal. Is what a loser would say. Everything Ends is a great example of a band branching out of their signature genre and absolutely killing it. Dan Searle, the drummer and primary writer for Architects, stated that this is about acknowledging that no matter how much I'm suffering in a particular moment, that suffering will end. The song is a reminder that no matter how bad things get, the sun will rise again. The fourth consecutive single and shortest song on the record, Braindead is the first collaboration track Architects have featured on a studio album. The band created the track with the two-man group House of Protection, breaking away from the style of the rest of the album with a hardcore punk song flavoured with aspects of hardstyle and breakcore. Structurally, the song remains in a standard metalcore form, using a double breakdown to finish, going halftime and then slowing down even further to end. I feel like the erratic timing changes enhance the theme of the song. According to Dan Searle, it's about modern life and the way we anesthetize ourselves. The song is based on a tongue-in-cheek reflection of the hidden addictions plaguing modern society and how it causes us to become basically brain dead, hence the title. The sixth song on the record, Evil Eyes, is the first song to really fit the traditional metalcore song structure, with screamed verses, emotional pre-choruses and bridge, and a massive melodic chorus. The only thing it's missing? A breakdown. It seems that Architects were insistent on subverting expectations on this album, which I think really played to its benefit. There's also a little jazz intro, which is pretty cool. Evil Eyes, in my mind, is like a continuation of both Elegy and Everything Ends in its themes. Whoa, I just noticed that they all have only E's in the initials. That must mean I'm onto something. Evil Eyes, according to the band, is about the emotional weight of anxiety and perseverance in overcoming it, as well as being an outlet for those feelings. Thematically, it's quite similar to Elegy's and Everything Ends' message of overcoming hardships, but in a way as if it's from the inverse perspective, exploring the difficulty of doing so. Also, this song kind of feels like if Architects decided to become Owl City, and I mean that in the best way possible. The following three songs, 7 through 9, are titled Landmines, Judgment Day, and Broken Mirror. I've grouped these three together as they're all very similar in tone, structure, and theme. Landmines is, in a way, the opposite of Evil Eyes in structure. Where Evil Eyes has screamed verses, Landmines has cleans. Evil Eyes has an emotive pre-chorus, Landmines barely has a pre-chorus. Evil Eyes is devoid of a breakdown, Landmines has two. The only thing they have in common is the huge, anthemic, uplifting chorus that could make a grown lumberjack cry. Judgment Day, featuring Amira Elfeki? What? Judgment Day, featuring Amira Elfeki, is very similar, but with screamed choruses to really contrast Evil Eyes, and without the additional breakdown. It's also the only feature on the album, and the first time Architects have featured a female singer. Broken Mirror has the same structure again, but with clean choruses. The three songs are all very similar in theme, all around some variation of changing oneself to be a better person. While Landmines and Broken Mirror are about the speaker's self-destructive behaviours and the need to fix them for the sake of those they love, Judgment Day is about the negative effects of a digital lifestyle. Once again, I'll link the lyrics to all the songs in the video description so you can come up with your own interpretations. The 10th song of the album, Curse, is the second single released and the fifth in the play order. If I had to describe this track with one word, it would be crisp. The whole song feels like it's been deep fried and then polished to perfection, if that makes any sense. I mean, I could say the same about the whole album, but I think Curse really epitomizes it with its production. The whole production feels very clean and short in its quality, which I think leans into the story of the song. The lyrics explore the curse of aging and the confronting shortness of life. In an interview, Dan Searle discussed the passing of his brother in 2016, stating that he had about 8 years of not caring that I'm another year older because Tom died when he was 28. The song acts as an outlet for his growing anxiety of growing older. Lyrically, I'm reminded of the Book of Genesis, in which God curses humanity with mortality. Speaking of God, let's check how many times they've made an overt biblical reference so far. 14. 14? Damn, that's more than some Christian bands. Still less than Nihilist, though. Seeing Red was the first single to be released, over a year before the rest of the album. I'll admit, I didn't like this song when I first heard it, but damn, it's grown on me. Sonically, the song is pretty interesting, since along with the Slipknot-style chugs and signature Architects production, it also features the non-credit Choir Noir, who provided childlike backing shouts reminiscent of Pink Floyd's The Wall. In terms of lyrics, this is probably the densest song on the album for interpretations. I personally have a few different interpretations, but there's so much to talk about that I'll probably just make this into a separate video. Instead, I'll just outline what the band have said about it. According to Dan Searle, before this record, we did a few albums that were less heavy. The internet gave us a bit of a hard time about it, and we took it personally. The song was written to be a mockery of the fans who were upset about the band going lighter in their writing, with the band expressing their annoyance at those telling them what they should write. It's the only song in the album to feature the signature metalcore blech, which Architects unintentionally helped make popular. Vocalist Sam Carter stated that he wished he had never made that stupid noise due to the cliché it had become. He then confirmed that that meant the death of the Blech, which, along with the gradually lighter music, led many fans to call this the death of Architects' music. Seeing Red, as well as much of the album, is a sarcastic comeback to those fans, with the band throwing in as much of the seemingly lost aggression into the song as they could. Also, the biblical counter is now up to 18. Whoa, is this a Sia cover? Nope, but that would be cool. The closing track, Chandelier, brings us full circle, regaining all the emotional tension and release of the opening track, with a similar synthy soundscape growing into a heavier chorus. Now, if any of the songs on this album were to make me cry, it would be this or Landmines. There's not much to say about the sound of the song other than what's already been said. It's emotional and intense with a similar pop sound and structure to Everything Ends. Now, I always thought the hook line of the chorus said "one last night on the chandelier," so I figured it was the same theme as Sia's Chandelier, that is, drinking to forget. However, when I was analysing the lyrics for this video, I realised it actually says "one less light on the chandelier." I did a quick search, and it turns out the song is actually speaking about the beauty of life, and how even when we're gone, it will still be beautiful. It seems to depict life as being a nice dream that is bound to end. Overall, it reminds me of the saying, "it's the destination, not the journey," and I think that's quite nice. This actually seems to be a recurring theme with Architects' lyrics, as seen in songs like Death Is Not Defeat and Memento Mori. Although, going outside of Architects, the lyrics most remind me of So Just Hang On Beautiful One by 04. This is a great album closer, but there's one thing that I'd personally do to bring it up to an 11, which actually leads us on to the next section of the video. I have very few critiques for this album. The writing is both catchy and deep, the instrumentation is great, and the production is superb. My two critiques are these. The structure. I feel like Landmines, Broken Mirror, and Curse are all very similar in tone. I think by moving one of them, probably Broken Mirror, to be earlier in the album, it could break that up a bit and also split up the 4 consecutive singles. Overall, I really don't think it would make much of a difference, but it might give it just a bit more variety rather than having 2 clumps. Secondly, Chandelier. Now this is entirely based on my own taste, and you're free to disagree, but I think that having a callback in Chandelier would be a really cool addition. It's a small thing, but I'm really just a sucker for callbacks. And there's a mostly instrumental bridge in Chandelier that feels like the perfect spot for one. There's room for 3 lines before the vocals come back in for the final chorus. I'd personally bring in the 2 lines from Blackhole, "There were diamonds in the air," and "the oxygen left my chest," just because it works really well. After that, I'd bring back the title line from Elegy's pre-chorus to not only add a callback to the intro track, but also get the album title in again, since having it in both the first and last song seems like a really cool idea. As it is, Chandelier is a great outro to a phenomenal album, but I think adding that callback would just tie it all together and bring it from a 10 to an 11. Editing Brendan here, realised that describing it doesn't actually help, so I'm just going to quickly whip up an example and throw that in at the end of the video, so stick around for that. Ooh, now we get to the fun part, my top 5 verses from the album. If you haven't already listened to the album, do it now and come back to the video after. This was definitely the hardest part of writing this video. Every song in the album is a gold standard for modern metal, so picking just 5 was a major challenge. Knowing me, I'll probably end up changing my mind as soon as I post this video, but for now, here are my top 5 verses from The Sky, The Earth, and All Between. At number 5, I've put the second chorus from Elegy. "'Cause I gave you all a part of me, I found you at the murder scene, you questioned my integrity again, but I rose above the gravity, the sky, the earth, and all between, you've written out my elegy again." As well as having a catchy melody, it's also got the album's title line, so I figured it would just be wrong not to put it in here. Plus, there's so much emotion in that delivery, especially from Sam. In 4th place, the bridge from Judgment Day. It's short, but that combination of Sam screams with Amira's cleans is amazing. You could call this a breakdown section, but since the instrumentation is still quite full, I'd say it lends itself more as a bridge. For 3rd place, I wanted to put something from Curse, but deciding on a section was pretty hard. I was considering the first verse of the pre-chorus since both are great, but I settled on the breakdown. The reason was that Curse's production is super short and crispy, and I felt like the breakdown was the best example to showcase that. As such, as well as the bronze medal, I hereby award Curse the Corn Chip Award for outstanding crispiness. Another second chorus, the silver goes to that of Landmines. In my opinion, this is the best chorus in the whole album. It's intense, melodic, and for some reason really just paints an image of running over some post-apocalyptic beach, and I have no idea why. Before we get to the number one best verse of the album, I'd like to give some honorable mentions, in no particular order. The outro of Braindead. The outro of Whiplash.
You're pissed, are you? Look at me in the eyes! Not as pissed as I am! You f***ing are! Donkey!
The pre-chorus of Evil Eyes.
Goodbye! I'm suffocating too long, so now it's goodbye!
And the pre-chorus of Seeing Red.
Oh yeah! That's right!
And now, for what I believe to be the single best verse in the album. It had to happen. The breakdown outro from Blackhole. It's not the type of section you'd expect to have going through your head or be singing in the shower, but it happens every time. Well, for me, anyway.
It's nothing but the cloud at the center of the blue.
So, that's the sky, the earth, and all between. I can confidently say that this is Architect's best work yet, and also wins the award for being the only album that I've ever listened to 17 consecutive times in 3 days. Overall, 10 out of 10, provided you like angry British vegans. What are your thoughts on the album? Do you agree with my interpretations on my top 5 verses? Let me know in the comments. But now that we're finished, I can officially say, for the first time on this channel, this album has been analysed, reviewed, and strongly approved. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.
Chandelier.